Hold the order. Addition to the agenda. Hunting? No? Okay. No public comment. Review the minutes. Has everyone had a chance to look over the minutes for last thing, March 7th and March 21st? And let's see, a form of those that were at these meetings. Everybody was here on the, no, they weren't.
I missed
You
the
were
last
absent
one, yeah.
Yeah, and Tim, you were absent on the, on March 7th.
I was.
Yeah. So actually we don't have a quorum there. And Cindy, you were absent on the other one, so we don't have a quorum there, so we'll put that off till next.
That was
meeting.
easy.
Yeah.
We're zipping along here.
Okay, so, next on the agenda, EZA update. I don't have anything on that. So, moving on. We should be welcoming you. You are an official member now, and this is your first official meeting with us. Great.
Yeah.
We're glad to have you. Yeah.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a glass. There you go.
So then we have the DBR issue review, home industry farms and contiguous land. I worked on the contiguous land and lot size and some of that stuff. And I think you were working on the farm, basically.
Yeah.
And I don't know if anyone is working on the home industry or not. No. Okay, so Sandy, do you have something on?
I do. I wonder, did everyone get copies of what I had sent? You look like you have it, but you don't, Jeff.
Back,
I think we got this at the last meeting.
Okay.
Yeah.
yeah, I think I have that.
I wasn't official yet, so I definitely didn't take anything home with me
Yeah,
last
okay.
meeting, but.
Yeah,
Let me just make you a
okay.
You know what, I think I've got, no, too.
So we may have a short meeting.
Oh, I'm sure we can talk about contiguous land forever, can't we?
Probably.
Yeah. Jeff, did I see something you turned in there originally from, was it Dayton?
Not Dayton, but Cleveland area, Akron.
Yeah.
What?
back to back.
You gonna pat me in the face? Why me?
Did you have it? You had it already?
Yes. Is there I noticed you guys got stacks and binders with all kinds of stuff. Is that just printouts from things that are accessible online, I assume?
So usually a copy of the town plan and the bylaws would be things you probably want. Some people have them electronically.
Yeah, they're on a PDF on the town site.
Okay, so just turn it from,
Yeah.
Okay.
Or put it on your computer if you want to do that. Whatever's easier.
good to know.
Yeah,
You probably want to be careful.
I know.
Oh, okay.
That's why I'm like,
I like to have a physical copy myself, but you can mark it up. And,
yeah, no, that makes sense.
yeah.
So I think we should start with this page, which is just some information that I found that creates sort of the basis for the edits.
That's your comment.
Yeah, required ag practices. So our town plan, our bylaws right now use old language, which was acceptable ag practices. So everywhere that needed to be changed because the Agency of Ag changed that. So that's what the required ag practices are. They're just standard practices that are acceptable. And then under that, there are some definitions about farm size, which is something we were talking about, whether it's commercial or not, and how do you figure that out. The two that seemed relevant to us are small farm operations, which, do you need a copy?
I think I've got it all here. I just don't know which page you're on.
Looks like that.
Required ag.
These are the last page of the one Sandy has. Yeah.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah. So they classified farms into small farm operations where one of the following is true. You operate 4 or more acres. You file a tax form once in the last 2 years, or you earn an annual gross income of $2,000 from sale of ag products. That's probably a lot of the farms that we deal with. And then the certified small farm operations are the bigger ones where you might have really a large number of dairy or heads and that sort of thing. And we might have a few of those. But I don't think in our bylaws there's a lot of distinction between those. But we can see what you think about that. And then the last thing under definitions is according to the state statute, what farm structures mean: a building, enclosure, fence, housing livestock, ag plants, or other practices associated with agriculture farming practices. So it includes silos and all of that sort of thing, but does not include human habitation. So using those, I did a search in our bylaws for where some of these terms appear. And if you look on section 8.3, that was, I think, the first area. Well, I have. Anyways, this page, not everything is applicable to farmland, but it just includes the whole page. So I don't know if there's anything on this page that we would need to change, but it basically is where those words appear. Okay, and then so then if you go to section 6.4, I guess I went backwards. That's really the first page that you had. Where permits are required, and it's talking about exemptions. It looks like this.
Yeah.
Okay. This is really where the exemptions apply to permits. And number 4 is basically what we were talking about, that if you're building a barn or other farm structure, you just have to notify the zoning administrator. You don't have to actually go through the permit process. So
I wonder, I was looking at this and I did check with the agriculture agency, and they have this farm determination form, basically.
okay.
And I wonder if we couldn't simplify things a great deal by just requiring that if someone wishes to have the designation as a farm in town, that they get a farm determination from the state of Vermont. And that we could cut out an awful lot of extraneous language that even becomes outdated by changes to the states, like it was $1,000. I don't know, in our regulations, now it's 2,000, they change these things. But the farm determination, if we require somebody that wishes to have a farm designation in town, that they file with the Agency of Agriculture, Food and Markets for a farm determination, and then submit that to the zoning administrator, that they have received a farm determination, that at that point, everything that the state allows for a farm determination should follow through. And we could eliminate a lot of ones. I'm really one for just kind of eliminating as much verbiage as we possibly can from our regulations. And I think this would be a very simple way of doing it. Maybe we should look into that a little.
Is there a fee?
No, I don't think so. No, I don't think there's any fee to get a farm determination. But, just have somebody come in and say, okay, I'm going to be running a small farm operation, basically. And, and then come in with a checklist or something and declare that this is what the state requires, and no determination from the state itself. It just seems kind of loose, basically. And this would be what's simpler, really. They do say, farm determination. It has those 4 points, basically. It doesn't actually say that necessarily only one of those is all that's necessary. It just indicates which of these minimum thresholds. I'm not saying that all you need is one minimum threshold. Maybe that's all. But in any case, you fill out the form indicating the minimum thresholds. And then there are 2 other pages which go through and say how many acreages do you have, of what farm animals, and they list a bunch of farm animals, basically, and a few other details. And then you send that to Vermont, and then they send back a farm determination. So I think that would maybe help to clarify things in our regs. And
it sounds like it's kind of out of our jurisdiction if it's something that has to be regulated by the state. They're saying that you have the RAP standards that you need to follow, and we're saying that the current regulation says it's exempt, right? So you don't need to, you just need to submit a plan. So if that's, do we need to add anything at that point if it's already under the state's jurisdiction?
Well, it allows for exemptions from certain regulations when you have a farm designation. So it's not actually regulating, it's actually allowing. So it's saying that you're exempt from zoning regulations if you fall into these categories, certain zoning regulations.
So you're saying we just need to have proof that they're a registered farm, so that's the proof.
Right.
This puts the onus on the state more than us, keeps the liability down. I mean, that's how in Arizona they would do this, similar through county. You'd file for an ag exempt through the county, whether you're in like a city or not. The county kind of oversees it, and then the city just kind of steps back and says, "All right."
I'm in agreement with that, except if I read these bylaws and there's nothing about, okay, well, what do I have to do to get that?
Yeah.
I just find it frustrating personally when, okay, well, you have to get a state permit for that, and you don't really know what you have to do to get a state permit, and is it going to be a big deal, and all those kind of things.
Right.
Can you just write to provide that and provide like the hyperlink or something for them to?
Absolutely. Oh,
you see, they change it from time to time.
Well, I know. That's unfortunately, you might have to go back and update that hyperlink every 6 months or so, but at least it's kind of a starting point.
Well, unfortunately, our document doesn't have any hyperlinks
Well, I know.
right now.
Well, at least
maybe someday,
they
but
can, type it in. At least it's there to visually see it and they can
Yeah,
manually type
I'd
it.
like to have the definitions in here
Yeah.
still,
Yeah.
because then you know, okay, well, oh, I might qualify, so I better do that.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you have no idea, and maybe you don't do
Yeah,
it.
so maybe the
Boris is
definition.
on here, you can hear us? You hear us, Boris?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe
Well, I
have the
don't know.
definitions and then kind of push them down that path after that. Like,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
I think I apply, or I think I qualify. Let me go through this process and see if the state agrees,
Mhm. Would you like to try and work this in with that or something?
Sure. Yeah.
I think it might help simplify things.
Yeah.
And also just and provide maybe a clearer path for somebody that is wanting to get a small farm designation.
Yeah, that way you don't have to argue with them. They have to argue with the state about it.
Okay.
There are 3 other pages or something that go with it. It was pretty easy to find on just clicked in for farm state farm regulations and click and here's a printable form basically.
So it's also, you can pretty much build any structure that you want on a farm with just a sketch, and that's.
Yeah.
Yeah, any type non-livable, I think, is usually the case.
Yeah.
Okay, so do we include any, okay, let's go to the definition page.
Yeah.
I think we still wanted to include what a farm structure is, because we had so many people talking about barns and what's a barn and what isn't a barn and stuff. Do we say the farm structure is?
Well, maybe we'll have to make a distinction, I think, between just a casual barn and maybe a small farm a state designated small farm barn or something. I don't know. Something to avoid the confusion with just
Okay.
a structure. I don't know what the best language would be. But
Yeah, how do you deal with somebody who has a small farm operation and then they build a barn that maybe isn't used as a barn?
Yeah, right. 4 chickens in a 3,000-foot barn.
Right.
Right.
That certainly would be a loophole.
Yeah.
Okay, well, if you're good with that, I'll just take what David gave me and go through here again and see if we need to, revise any of these, really.
Yeah. And I always like to try and eliminate as much.
What did we decide about barn? Are we even including that in our definitions?
I
Or,
think we kept it the same as I had suggested. That we have, there are 2 definitions. One, a casual, I don't know, where are we now?
a state-approved ag structure.
Yeah,
Is that
well,
what we said? No, that's what I wrote in, but.
yeah. I forget. Memory. Oh, I've got it here.
Do you have anything to say, Boris?
No, I'm just trying to remember what we decided in the barn too. If we, I think did we just want to stick with the barn having 2 meanings? One, it's like it can mean like a accessory structure, and it also can mean like an ag building as well. Is that what we? I don't necessarily agree with that, but I just remember that's what was decided. Which I guess is kind of how it is now, perhaps.
I'll have to look through and find it. I've got it online somewhere. I guess I don't have that.
Did we say that a barn was for agricultural purposes, but a function structure or special function structure, even though it was a barn. We didn't call it a barn.
Well, let's see, we determined, an appurtenant structure, basically, just a general appurtenant structure, which included a barn as, not a, special agriculturally designated barn. And then I think we had another definition for a state, approved or something that fell into a state designation as a barn.
Does it be a farm structure?
Yeah, I think that's the case. And since we now have people registering to be a farm, then we can put that in there too, as per this
Yeah.
state permit or something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right,
okay.
all right. Yeah, it's not a permit, actually, it's just a determination, it's a state determination, that's the language they use. And I guess that's probably,
Small farm operation.
yeah, and
You guys-
determination means it's not a permit, it's not a regulation, it's not doing anything other than saying you're officially determined as a farm.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I know on the census, there's categories for being a farm also, and that's where you can get some of the data about how many farms you have, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know how many of them actually register or not. Maybe we could get a list, how many of their determination for Underhill. I'm gonna do that. Yeah.
Right.
I would venture to guess that not many.
People may not know it exists, right?
There are two small farm designations, actually. There's one that's really small, and then there's another that's a little bit bigger.
Right.
But they're both state determinations of the small farm operations. The larger small farm operation, I think, has, I don't know, 15 cows or something, or maybe more.
Hopefully this is not going backwards, but I just had a thought. What if, just thinking out loud here, what if we drop the term barn from these regulations, and if somebody says, I want to build a barn, you can say, well, is it a farm structure or is it an accessory structure? Because it's essentially, I mean, do we need a term that says barn? Because barn is such a term that doesn't really have a lot of meaning in this context, I think. And maybe the right term would be, are you building a farm structure and you've got approval from the state, or are you building an accessory structure near your home that has, the lawnmower and snow plow in it or whatever? I don't know. Just a thought.
I'm not sure I understand exactly what you're saying, Morris. You're saying two different categories, but
I think I understand, because I was thinking the same thing in my head, but didn't want to say anything. That, like, do we need to really, if we use the barn, then with the word barn, then we're kind of like leading you down like a one-way path. Whereas if you just say outbuilding or accessory structure, then you can work in from the out, right? Like, take it broad and move in versus starting, specific and then trying to like define it outwardly from there, right?
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Does the word barn have? Is it specific enough to be in these bylaws? Or
We could have it, no definition, but it would say C, accessory structure or farm structure, and then they'd have to figure out which one they are, right?
Yeah, like
That
I
makes
think
sense.
so. Yeah. So you're starting broad and honing them in.
I wish I had the definitions that we had already worked up, basically.
Yeah.
Because I think we figured that.
Yeah, I think that's what we arrived at, that we were gonna just have it be an accessory structure.
What?
That's my recollection. We're just gonna have a barn be an accessory structure,
Yeah,
not called a barn.
yeah, one of them, right, we titled it just basically an accessory structure or an appurtenant structure. Not a barn, and then included in that barn and other things. And then we had a definition for a farm type barn. Oh. Well.
You know what we need to do is, every time we reach a decision about these, we need to have it written up, and we have to have a running log of what we've decided, because it's, we seem to be going over things again.
We should have maybe a folder right here that when something is passed, it gets put into that folder or that loose leaf binder or whatever, so that we've got it here. This has been passed.
All right, yeah.
Well, okay, that's something to
To-do list.
to do. Is everyone in favor of that? Let's pass a motion that we set up a loose leaf of past or agreed upon definitions, changes, etc. in our regulations. Second?
Sure.
Second, yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Hey, okay.
Yeah, of course.
Good suggestion, Sandy. Okay, shall we move on to next?
Sure.
Contiguous land, size, etc. I worked on this afternoon, so I printed out some copies. And
What is that referring to? Was it something that the DRB had a problem
that
with?
one?
The contiguous land thing?
Yes, this was something that Penny
Oh, here it
mentioned.
is. Okay.
Yeah. And I'm sorry, Boris, I didn't get copies around in the email. So this has to do with definitions of contiguous land and non-conforming lots and so on. And I'm sorry you don't have a copy, basically.
Okay,
But read through it.
is this something new for this week? Because I've got the one from.
Something that I was supposed to work on, it didn't get to
Oh,
it
right.
until today.
Well,
I can send it to you if you, I don't know. I don't know your phone number though. Text it. You want to put it in the chat? Maybe. I don't want to give everybody in the
maybe
world.
I'm gonna read it. I mean,
What? You wouldn't be able to read it?
no, I said if David wants to just go ahead and read it, that's good enough for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so this, so under definitions, Penny indicated there was some confusion about parcels divided by rights of way. And and we had some confusion and discussion about that also. And we decided that parcels that were divided by a state highway, in any case, state highway and town highway, should not actually be separate lots, because we'd be creating a whole bunch of non-conforming lots by doing that. And it didn't seem like a good idea. So,
Doesn't the state consider it separate though? If it's a
the
state
state
highway?
seems to do that with a state highway, yeah. So, okay, so this language, I hope, covers that situation. So the first paragraph here is the wording as we agreed upon last time, but this says I've remodeled that, redone that. So I want to change that. The first two sentences are okay, which read as a parcel of land contained within a single unbroken parcel boundary. This is contiguous land, basically, or two or more parcels which share a common measurable parcel boundary. And this is where I want to change the next sentence, where one or more existing road rights of way bisect an existing parcel, the rights of way may be considered a boundary dividing the parcels into two or more lots, only if all portions of the parcel divided by the rights of way meet the minimum lot size requirement for the district in which they are located. So, so that's indicating that that a parcel divided will not be considered a parcel unless it meets the size requirements for a district. So, but
Does
Bart
that
is
mean?
saying
Oh,
that,
sorry. Go ahead.
that Bart is saying that, well, the state says they are divided, basically. So when it comes to the state, we can't really fight their regulations. So anyway, so the new sentence,
Can I just
sure.
see
yes,
if I
sentence,
understand what the situation
Yeah, yeah.
is? So it would be basically if you have a parcel and somebody has a right of way all the way through it,
Mhm.
each side has to be, of the acres for that zoning district? That's what you're talking about?
Yeah, right.
Okay.
To be
But right of way with state and town highways, this is the distinction I want to make. That yes, when it comes to state or town highways, the parcels may be divided. But when it comes to a private right of way, I think it's better not to do it that way. So anyway, this is the language here for what I think works best for the town.
And that's saying that it exists as a single lot, and then it could be subdivided into two lots because of that situation with the proximity to the road, or it's automatically two lots because it has a right of way through it.
I understand it as, like, if you wanted to sell that part that's across the road, you could do that because of the road. But if you're not doing anything, then it stays as it is, it's one parcel, and that's the way I understand it.
Okay, so you still have to get a subdivision permit and have it formally divided, but
What if you wanted to sell it, like say it's non-conforming to build upon because of, minimum setbacks and zoning size, but that portion resides adjacent to a neighbor who wants to buy it and combine it to his.
Then
Can you
it's
do
a
that?
boundary line adjustment and it's less complicated, right?
But you're still taking part of that original parcel and like breaking it off and putting that, and you can still do that as a lot line adjustment, is what you're saying?
As long as the remaining lot
Is
is
within
big
compliance,
enough, yeah.
So that would be like an exception, like kind of an exception then to that rule with the contiguous land.
Well, if the remaining lot is less than the designated acreage for the district, then it would be a non-conforming, basically.
Yeah, but if somebody wants to buy it and just combine it to their land because they just want that extra open space in their name, they can do that.
You could sell it, yeah, but you couldn't build on it.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
or if that put the adjoining parcel, the combined acreage made it so it was subdividable, then you subdivide it that way with a lot line adjustment.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
And then you get into the other situation of, say, when it's the whole lot meets the district acreage, but selling off the parcel on the other side of the road results in the parcel that has a house on it, say, being non-conforming.
You can't do it.
Yeah.
Right. Another thing that I'm thinking, that you could have a de facto subdivision by merely declaring a right-of-way across a parcel of land. And you wouldn't even have to build a road, but it would be a right-of-way. And then you would have a parcel on each side of the right-of-way, and you've subdivided your lot, which may or may not meet the zoning, but you wouldn't have to go through subdivision.
Let
I
me
think
read
you
this.
would. You would. wouldn't you?
Why?
Yeah, that's,
Would you still have to do it to dedicate that right away? Like, who are you dedicating it to? Yourself or?
Doesn't it
Yeah,
have
well,
to be
sure.
a state? Doesn't it have to be a state or town highway?
I mean, it could be a private track, but I feel like you still have to dedicate it to something besides yourself. I don't know.
I'm just
let me
making the
read it.
point that I don't think that a right-of-way should be dividing a lot. I mean, it's still one lot
Yeah.
with a right-of-way through it.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, if
No,
you
I
say like
agree.
I mean,
Yeah.
if
Well, I think I covered that here, actually.
Yeah, I think if you
Okay.
say existing road right away, so maybe say like an existing like declared road or something like that, so that way it's declared, and it's owned by the state or the town,
Well, I'm making this distinction between state and town right of ways and private rights of way.
Yeah, in the
So
additional
the
piece.
private, let's just read it here, so Boris and everybody. Where one or more existing state or town road rights of way bisect an existing parcel, the rights of way may be considered a boundary dividing the parcel into two or more lots only if all portions of a parcel divided by the rights of way meet the minimum lot size requirements for the district in which they are located. Where one or more private road rights of way bisect a parcel, the bisected parcels may be considered a single parcel.
Yeah.
So combined, just not divided by a private right of way. Maybe that's not perfectly clear. But I'm saying, that there's a difference between a private right of way and a state or town road right of way.
Right.
And sometimes with a private development, you run into configurations of land that result in the road right of way going in various directions and cutting through parcels that could be arranged in a way to be utilized. Whereas if if it's considered divided by the right of way, they couldn't be. Well, I have this example that I showed this subdivision I did years ago, Chad's Road, basically, which shows lots. This is one lot here, and there's the road there.
Right.
And in order to meet the town designations, I ran the boundary up to the middle of the Pleasant Valley Road, and then a little right of way, well, just up to the edge of the town right of way, but my parcel ran into the middle of the town right of way, so that combines a lot. And then over here, this is one lot, and this is the private road. Had to stop there, and then a little sliver of land with a right of way over it, connecting these two lots. So, it's a sort of a situation of how things can develop in Underhill with its unusual configurations, basically. So, I'm in favor of allowing a lot to stay joined with a private right of way, in distinction
One
to
thing to keep in mind. Oh, sorry, David. So this property here that I'm on, it's cross the mountain road bisects this
right.
this lot, right? And I want it to exist as one lot, even though there's a road going to it. So I guess maybe we should make a distinction between, those lots having to be divided by the road and having to be two separate lots versus if you desire them to be separate, you can do it if you'd like. Does that make sense?
It's optional.
Optional. Yes, it says may. Existing road rights may be considered a boundary. So like in my case, I don't want it to be two separate lots. I want it to be one lot.
Yeah. So he's got that in the additional part.
Yeah.
Right.
That it may be.
Yeah, so
Remember this?
I'm kind of dense on some of this stuff, and
Mhm.
I don't really get it. I mean, if you have a road going through it, regardless of whether it's a private or a state road, and each side of that is the right size, you can divide it or you don't have to divide it, right? And what you're saying here is that if it's a state or town road that goes through it, you have to divide it? Is that what you're saying?
Well,
I don't think you have to. I mean, he's saying it maybe is in terms of like,
Okay.
well, you
It
can
may
or you
be.
can't. Yeah.
yeah.
And the same goes for a private road. Why
Yeah,
can't you do the same there?
He has that too. Bisect may be considered a single parcel.
So why are we doing this? I mean,
Well, that's his additional language. I think that's what he wants to make it.
Mhm.
Is this the second
The
paragraph?
may.
Yeah, the second paragraph that David wrote, I think is the way he wants to rephrase contiguous land above. Is that correct, David?
Yeah, I want
Yeah.
them to, so that this would be considered
Yeah.
one lot.
So this
basically.
is what he wants. This is what it is.
Right. Well, I guess what I'm saying then is, why do you distinguish between state and town roads versus private rights of way when you can do the same thing regardless?
Well, it's a matter of traffic for one thing, and size of the road, for another, and also has to do with subdivisions as they are
Uh,
created. No, it's not. It's some. Well,
Shouldn't have put that.
You have to follow all the rules to subdivide, period. Whether it's a state road or a private road, you would still have to have the right amount of land and all those kind of things. So I don't understand why we're making it complicated, I guess.
Yeah, what was
See, I don't really understand, why you had to do that even, David, because you
I did. I had to
weren't
do that.
subdividing, right? You weren't subdividing these two lots, right?
it was all one parcel originally.
Okay,
So I created this lot here,
yeah,
but I had to do that for the subdivision. Whatever it is, the I don't know, planning commission at that point, or development review board. Anyway, I had to do it that way.
and
Otherwise,
what was the language here that made you have to do that?
No, the language here is, well, the original language, let's see.
Maybe, did it already get changed? Maybe, I don't know.
That was 85, so it's
Yeah, it was a while
Probably.
ago.
way a while ago.
Yeah,
And you had to do it this way so that you got enough acreage.
Yeah, exactly.
To
Yeah,
do
it needed to do
10.3
that for-
acres.
Yeah, right, to get
Yeah.
10 acres basically
Yeah.
for each lot. If I had to have 10 acres on either side of a road, then maybe 2 lots in this whole subdivision instead of 4.
Yeah.
And, expensive roads with 2 lots to take care of. So,
So I think that the DRB's question was the issue was location in the regs. Continuous land is in the definitions, but there's no reference in the regulations.
definitions,
it doesn't appear anywhere in the regulations, is that, yeah.
That's where it says, where should it be in the regs? It's in the definitions, but there's no reference in the regulations.
yeah, so that's down in
So-
the middle of my page there is where I put it in the regulations, basically,
Right.
just to include the whole above, basically, that I'm suggesting there. Well, let's read it again, see if I've got this okay or not. So the revised sentence, where one or more existing state or town road rights of way bisect an existing parcel, the rights of way may be considered a boundary dividing the parcel into 2 or more lots. Only if all portions of a parcel divided by the rights of way meet the minimum lot size. Okay, so they have to meet the minimum lot size
Got it.
to be parcel, basically. So, but then the next sentence, where one or more private road rights of way bisect a parcel, the bisecting parcels may be considered a single parcel. So, does that follow okay? Or?
It doesn't. It already is one parcel, even if a right of way goes through it. Unless I'm missing something.
Only if all parcels. You see the word only in the first sentence. It says
No, I'm only asking about the last sentence.
Yeah, but the last sentence is making the distinction that they don't only have to be fully sized on both sides of the right of way. You don't have to have the full acreage on either side of a private right of way.
Okay, you guys decide. I don't get it.
Okay, well, I'll look it over and see if I
It's
can
one
make it clearer.
parcel, and it isn't saying that you're going to subdivide it. It's saying it's one parcel and you have a right of way going through it. Okay, it's one parcel.
Mhm.
There doesn't really need to be a sentence about that because it's one parcel. But, and the one above is one parcel, even if a state road goes through it. But you can consider it a boundary if both sides are the right size. Well, the same is true for the private road.
Well, I think you're confusing parcel with lot. You know, there's the parcel and then there's a lot, which is generally considered a buildable entity. You know, a lot rather than, all right, definition of lot.
Oh, lot.
Okay, down to the
versus
bottom
parcel.
here, let's look at the definition of a lot. A lot, okay, a parcel of land. For purposes of these regulations, a lot is one, any parcel of land which has sufficient area to meet the dimension requirements of these regulations. And then I would like to get rid of the what I've underlined, excluding existing or proposed road rights of way. Okay, and then the second part is a parcel of land defined by property lines as shown on a site plan or subdivision plot. So a lot is different than a parcel, you know, for the way the regulations are looking at it. So I think that's
I didn't catch
confusion
that.
is.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's quite all right. Maybe we should make it clearer in the contiguous land definition.
Yeah, because I mean, a lot doesn't necessarily exist until a subdivision happens.
Right.
Like if you have a 100-acre parcel, then you subdivided that parcel then into
Then you have-
20 lots.
Yeah.
Right.
Then you have lot 1, lot 2, lot 3, lot 4 with, you know, associated rights of way, common areas, whatever, what have you.
I think that should be in this definition.
So yeah, you
Don't
might want to clean that
Maybe we
up.
should do
A
something like
lot number 1 should be any parcel
Or any-
within a subdivision
Yeah,
of land.
any portion of a parcel within a subdivision,
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
Maybe just get more clear on what a parcel is, what a lot is.
Now I'm taking out excluding existing or proposed road rights of way. These are the dimensions basically that they're talking about. So I don't think that's necessary there. And then I'll go down to lot area, lot size. Total land area within the boundaries, lot lines of a lot. And then I'd like to remove exclusive of the area designated for any existing or proposed road rights of way as measured within the boundaries of the right of way. In
You
other
know
words,
what, that's significant.
It is significant.
It's, yeah, removing the roads from just this, you know, you can come up with a little chunk of land that you can't build on if you include the road right of ways. Yeah.
If, well, like this lot here, this is 10.4 acres. This was surveyed to the middle of the road, basically. If I did not survey to the middle of the road, that comes back 25 feet here, all the way along there for 400 feet. That amounts to a certain amount of acreage.
Well, this too, you have to exclude this from the lot size.
We did, because this was it's actually held by a corporation, so it is separate, basically.
But if it wasn't.
That's owned.
Yeah.
And the town road is a right of way. So you actually own to the middle of the right of way. The town doesn't own that. There are roads that the town does own, but they don't own. So if you own to the middle of the road, that's your acreage, period, as far as I'm concerned. And I think I'd like to do it that way, have it reflected here.
Your association does not own this, do they?
Yeah, the association owns all of this, basically.
Oh, they do?
This is road here, yeah.
Yeah, so when you make like a subdivision plat, on the cover, there's usually a table. And say like, it'll give you all the lots and then like the acreage. And then if there's right of ways or tracks, which are also similar to that, that you'd have a table that says like tract A or right of way A, right of way B, tract B, and then it would give square footages of all that. And that's kind of how it defines all of the
And that's
individual
separated from the acreage.
Yeah, the lot will only be like what he's got in red. And then if this was all highlighted yellow, that would be excluded from all those lots.
And you're not saying that you want to exclude that though, right? I'm sorry.
No, that's okay.
I think you need to.
What I want to do is allow the owner of land that goes to the middle of the road and have that acreage included in his lot for subdivision and building purposes. It's significant, and it's recently,
But doesn't that pose the potential of somebody doing something within that area of the roadway that is, I guess, counterproductive to the purpose of the road?
No, I don't think so. The right of way allows for the total maintenance, and the private owner can't interfere with it in any way.
So that's at least protected.
So you can include it as part of your land acreage, but you really don't have much you can do with it.
Yeah, you can't use it, but it's it's part of your acreage. It's in your deed, basically. So, and it does make a big difference. What is it?
I mean, but does it though? Because you pay taxes on it and you can't use it. You know what I mean? Like your assessed value is that amount of acres, and
But if it's the difference
roadway.
between being able to have the subdivision
I guess
or
it's
not.
it's a double-edged sword, right?
Yeah.
If I had roadway claimed in mine, I would.
Robin Samard wanted to build over on Beartown Road, I think, right? And long acreage along the road there, basically, and measuring to the middle of the road really canceled out some possibilities there. I don't know, they worked out something, but it just didn't seem right to me. So
there's a federal law on federal highways when they do upgrading that they acquire the highway easement. And, if somebody has an acre lot and it's zone acre, and all of a sudden the feds are coming in and buying the easement of the highway, then those people are grandfathered.
They're
even though-
non-conforming, but they're grandfathered.
Right,
Sure.
they're grandfathered, and but it causes a lot of problems when people say, "I'm not selling anything to the federal government." Of course, they don't have a choice.
Yes, adverse possession, they'll just take it and give you,
Yeah.
you know, the assessed value for it. Call it a day.
Okay, well, those are my suggestions there on the you know, allowing for the acreage goes along the road. That's in the definitions. Any comments on that, or disagreements, or arguments to the contrary? Differences? No? Well, thank you.
There was something that, let's see, this is, these aren't within, like let's see, let me find the reference and then I'll.
Maybe also, if we have some changes that we've already made that anyone has, to bring those in. You guys probably don't have anything. I don't think you submitted anything. You certainly haven't.
I'm too new to do that, yeah.
But put something together. So we bring them in. I would bring in one I've done.
I think, doesn't Brian have the master editing version?
Yeah.
Oh.
So that once we
Every time
come
we
up with
made
it
a
and
correction,
we
yeah.
all agree to it, then
But
it
it's only
adds it.
scribbled on there, so,
Yeah.
it's not all written out. And
I'll talk to Brad about what he has, and maybe we can get, there's some copies here. Get a single copy for us. Well, that's all I have here, and I don't think we have anything else on the agenda to deal with. Home industry.
so is everyone in agreement with these excluded places that David has?
Yeah, that's what I was asking,
Oh, okay.
or is
Yeah.
everybody in agreement with that?
You good for
Everybody in
us?
favor with,
I think so.
Yeah, I'm not totally, I feel like I need another hour to think about it to understand,
Sure.
make sure I understand what you're going for here.
okay, yeah. Well, we can bring it up again, and probably should with, full body of people here. So,
With Boris here, we can approve the minutes.
oh, okay, yeah, good point. Let's see. So we have the March 7th. So we have a quorum for that, I guess. Tim was absent. We have Boris. And Boris, Cindy, myself. Carolyn on the.
Carolyn's not on.
Well, we don't have a quorum, I don't think, I don't. No, well, next issue.
Did we need to do something with the home industry, or did we solve that? I know there was a long discussion we had with Penny about that.
I don't think we solved it. We did come to some conclusions about that. Maybe we did solve it. Memory.
I think we were gonna just figure out the wording, how to make it apply to those who no longer reside on the property, right?
Right.
And we're just looking for new wording on that.
Yeah. Okay. We don't have that. So we need to have wording on that.
Maybe Brian was the one that was going to do the wording.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah, I think
Like
Brian.
Brian, he's got it.
Yeah. Well, anything else we should go over? Oh, okay, well then, we could have a motion to adjourn, and when we get a full board here, we can move ahead with a few other
I
items.
do have just one question going back to the definitions here.
Yeah.
So just to be clear as far as what we've decided upon. So if there is a right of way going through a parcel that's conforming, then it is two lots.
Yeah,
I think it may be too much.
It may be two lots. So, and then if it can be two lots, is it something that's automatically approved or something that has to go through the subdivision process and permitting?
no, I think it does have to go through a subdivision process. I think it has to be declared separate lots.
Yeah, they would have to
Approved
have
as
separate
lots.
plats and
Just because
everything.
even on the GIS, it's only listed as one parcel, so you'd have
That
to
was
get
my
some of your
point
deeds
earlier.
involved.
Yeah.
So
right.
it's
But I
more
think
of
it
just
does.
because there's a right of way going through, it's not disqualifying you from
Right.
subdividing it.
Yeah.
That's the point. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so. Anyways,
Does it need to say that in there?
Hmm.
You know, following normal subdivision procedures or something?
Yeah. There's
Well, maybe-
a small subdivision category in the permit process, which I don't think requires going to a development review board hearing. And it can be done just as a permitted process. I'm not sure exactly the details, but it has to do with 2 or 3 lots, I think. And so it avoids the expense of going through the whole process. So that may cover that situation. Don't have the full details.
So it's really no different than any other lot at that point.
Yeah, I guess.
Because if it doesn't conform, you can't subdivide it either way.
right.
Yeah.
I think this at least brings it to people's attention, and then you can kind of case by case
Right.
deal with it as somebody comes up with the inquiry to the town. You know, otherwise,
Doesn't really change anything that's
Yeah.
already in existence as far as the rules for subdividing
Yeah.
a piece of land.
yeah,
As long as it makes it clear enough for the DRB so they don't have to make
Right.
guesses. I think that was the whole
And
point.
I guess that does that by including in the regulations.
yeah.
We just gotta have the 212 pages,
I did have one more thing. I sent around, maybe I didn't send it to you, Jeff, but the Jericho Conservation Commission is having this.
The community sewer thing.
No, that's separate. This is, oh yeah, they're doing that too. This is a film about seeing the forest for the trees that was made by like the forest industry of Vermont. It's a good movie, and it talks about managing forests and forest products and that sort of thing. And then afterwards, Ethan Tapper, the Chittenden County forester, and Don Toby, our local tree warden, are going to be there. The reason I think it might be really helpful is that Ethan's going to talk about the use value appraisal program, the current use program, which in our town, about 30% or more of the forest area is under that. Yeah.
Front porch, that one?
Yeah.
Okay.
And when we get into talking about zoning lines, the natural resource inventory, our conserved land, and what we might want to do, the kind of information that Ethan has will be really helpful to us. And I feel like the more everybody is up on that, then when we go to talk about it, it'll make it easier. I was considering asking Ethan to come and to our committee and give a presentation on current use and how they figure out lines and, all those kind of things that would be relevant. And, we could still do that. I think this would be maybe another option for that. But, it's like, what is it, a Saturday night pizza and movie or something.
Yeah.
Anyways, I did want to mention that again in case you hadn't seen it. But
I remember you sending out that email. Do you remember the date of that email?
no. You want me to send it again?
I don't either.
April 11th.
Find it.
April 11th. I just looked at it.
Okay. Thank you, Boris.
Okay. It's the date of the thing is April 27th, right? Yeah. So like not this weekend, but next.
Yep.
Anyways, thank you. I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Yeah, okay.
I will second.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Okay. All in favor? Aye.
All right.
Okay, well, thank you, everybody.
Well, I hope